Hari Om. We started the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Rudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing Nididhyasanam. It means after studying the scriptures for a prolonged length of time, Shravanam and Mananam, and depending upon the nature of the student or how evolved the student is, that the Shravanam itself is sufficient. It's called Uttamadhikari. And those who have not completely eliminated the Ragadveshas, and depending upon how much Ragadveshas are left, we have a Madhyam Adhikari, which has a big broad range from those who are very close to the Uttamadhikari or very close to the Adhamadhikari, the last ones. And Adhamakari is not really prepared to even to listen to the scriptures. For him, it is better to do the social service and so on, purify the mind. Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga are recommended for the Adhama Yogi, where he prepares the mind enough that he can start listening to the scriptures. If you don't prepare and still listening and have enough interest to listen to the scriptures, and you may not realize or recognize the knowledge completely, but yet this Shravanam itself purifies the mind to the degree that you will be born in a conducive environment in the next life. That's what the guarantee of this statement by Krishna. It's called Ubhaya Brashtaha, the one who has not enjoyed the life because he is investing his time in the Shastra Vichara. At the same time, he has not assimilated the knowledge enough. Therefore, he is considered as Ubhaya Brashta, neither gain this nor that one. So, for him, what happens? And Arjuna asks, this is Vedanta. Once you enter into Vedanta, nothing gets lost. Because this Svalpam Apyasya, even little bit of it will take you a long way. And therefore, Svalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Atrayate. So that which is a small itself is take you a long way. Now if you talk about years of study of Vedanta and not realize itself, it means you will be born in conducive environment in the next life where you will rapidly go. And if you have already studied Vedanta here, then you don't need even a teacher also, where you will immediately proceed. But you cannot take that Mahatmas as an example, because people quote Ramana Maharshi, he never had any particular teacher, so we also don't need a teacher. If you are like Ramana Maharshi, can sit down and evolve immediately, no problem. But if you are struggling hard to know what exactly is the truth, and then in that case you do need a teacher. And therefore, for that only scripture says that you have not attained this in the previous life, you have to go through that. Therefore, the examples like Ramana Maharshi are there as an exceptions, but you cannot make a rule out of exceptions and say nobody needs to study Vedanta, they only have a good teacher and sit and meditate. That cannot be. If you can sit and meditate, my prostrations to you. But most of the time, unless I know what exactly to be meditated on, you will be only propagating the wrong knowledge to wrong people, all other people only. It's called the blind leading the blind only. Here we have to be careful enough that we need scripture itself says Tad Vijnanartham sa Gurum Eva Abhigachet. Eva means you have to approach alone a teacher who himself studied the scriptures under his teacher for a prolonged length of time until a knowledge is crystal clear. That means he himself is a Vedantin, and therefore he can teach properly and also knows the problems of ups and downs that one can go through and at individuals, the disciples level, and therefore he can eliminate the problems or advise properly for one to grow. and therefore tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. So to know that, Krishna himself recommends that you have to go to a teacher with an attitude of service, because the mind has to be in a state of humility to know. I already know, you tell me what you have. Then that case, mind is not ready, prepared to learn. It is prepared to argue only, but not prepared to learn. Argument or Vedanta discussions are appropriate for the people who are of the same level. But for the people who wants to know, it's only called Samvadam. Krishna Arjuna Samvadam. Samvadam is a flow of the knowledge from a higher to the lower, where the discussion is only the student can ask the questions of clarification of his misunderstandings or not able to understanding. Not that he is questioning the teacher, but he is questioning only his understanding for clarification. That's called Samvadam. Vadam is trying to, let's sit down and discuss. Sit down and discuss among the peers, so that what is the truth. And that is different compared to approaching a teacher. Therefore the humility becomes important. Tadvidhi pranipatena, by completely flat, means mind has to be flat under, so that it can absorb the knowledge from higher. We are now looking at the 15th chapter of Gita, where samsara tree is described as asvastha vruksham, where the roots are above and the roots go down also, and that's essentially is second in the next sloka, second sloka. Ataschordhvam prasutas tasya shakaha guna prabuddha vishaya pravalaha atascha मूलानि अनुसंततानि कर्मानुबंधीनि मनुष्य लोके अतश्चोर्ध्वं. So ataha cha urdhvam cha. So prasutaha, it's spreading all over. It is up, down, everywhere. This tree is spreading all over the world. Some go even to the America or this kingdom, that kingdom, going different continents, spreading all over your samsara, all over the place. One root here, one relation there, one relation there, and all world news is required because all people are spread all over, and that's what essentially the spreading of the samsara. So ataschodham, so atascha urdham cha prasutaha, spread out. Tasya shakaha, these branches are spread out. Shaka includes not only in this life, in different lokas also it's spread out. So it means jiva travels in terms of different lokas. The swargas we have, according to the Vedanta, there are 14 lokas, including the karma bhumi, where you accumulate new vasanas or reject the vasanas, where knowledge can take place, and this is called Prithvi. And everything others lokas, where there is only enjoying the higher things, until you go all the way to Satya Loka or Brahma Loka, where you are again given a chance to listen to Vedanta if there is an interest, where Brahmaji himself is a teacher. If you have not studied here, you can study there if you go all the way there. That's called Brahma Loka. There Brahmaji takes one class in every 32 years, apparently his lifetime. So he takes, like that's what in the Chandogya Upanishad, there he announced for that course, and 2 people registered, and that is one is the Indra, the king of the gods, and another king of the Asuras. Both registered, but the king of Asuras, Rochana, dropped out after the first class itself, and Brahmaji left with only one student. But Indra has patiently studied until he realized. And that's why this is, one can go up to that and then see. And essentially, Jnanameva required. Jnanam itself is required for realization. And that can be provided you understand the teaching itself through the Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha. So, Atashodvam Prasutaha, Tasya Shakaha, Guna Prabuddhaha, Vishaya Pravalaha. So Vishaya, the objects of enjoyment, which is Guna Prabuddhaha, that means Sattva Rajas Tamo Guna Prabuddhaha. Therefore it is that which is soaked in all these gunas, these Tamasic Guna, Rajasic Guna and Sattvic Guna. Is also, Sattvic Guna means knowledge also, a Vasana becomes, people become, the want more and learn more and more and more Vedanta. I remember attending one person's who came to our study group, and he brought 10 different books, and any question that is raised, he was discussing what does this book say, what does that book say, what does this book say. So he was referring to so many books and totally confusing himself and confusing others also. That's called Shastra Vasana. So that Vasana itself is another become a problem. So I need to understand the Shastra to recognize the truth, not what Ramanuja said or what Shankara said or what this person said. Says what do you understand has to be clear. And that's what is called the clear understanding of what Shankara said. I had to understand and assimilate it and express myself in that. That is a clear understanding. Otherwise, it's only what Shankara understood only I am quoting unquote. So you need a teacher who is Shrotavya and also the one who is really understood and recognize the nature of the understanding as self-knowledge. And therefore, tasya shakaha guna pravuddha vishaya pravalaha. So all these tender leaves are all nothing but they look so attractive, and they are all vishayas. They contains visham. Visham is that which is poison, and they are vishaya. Vishaya means they are objects of the gunas with all the qualities of they are likable and unlikable. That's why we said all the raga dveshas are, whenever we see a vishayam, sense object, this is mixed with that, and that's called the part of samsara. Vishaya pravalaha. Atasya mulan anusantatani. So therefore this banyan tree itself, the roots go down again and make it bigger, and again make it deeper root itself, and that becomes more and stronger and stronger and stronger with all the roots again. So I build up my samsara, and it is becoming more with the deeper roots everywhere, attachments here, attachment there, and all over the place. My mind is all over disturbed. Says the बालस्तावत क्रीडा सकता है, तरुणस्तावत तरुणी सकता है, वृद्धस्तावत चिंता सकता है, परमे ब्रह्मणि कोपि न सकता है. So Shankaracharya says, when you are a child, you are worried about the balastavat krida, about the kriya, about playing and all that. All the time you want to play. Balastavat krida sakta hai, tarunastavat taruni sakta. When you are talking about an adulthood, you want to say about interest about the opposite sex itself, and that takes your mind all the time. And uddhastavat chinta asakta, because when you become old, you have invested all over the place. Your attachments are invested, not the financial investment. We are talking about your attachments. My daughter is here, my granddaughter is here, my grandson is here, my all over the world are spread out. You have to go here, you have to go there, flying there, and it's like a rat race running all over the place. That's called the attachments invested all over the place, and that's what called guna pravuddhaha vishayaha. And therefore this adasya mulan anusantatani, they're spreading everywhere. Karmanubandhi manushya loke. This karma bandha, this bondage due to this vasanas is essentially is what is called samsara. It is meaningless as though, and therefore appears to be endless, and unless I cut this vruksham, I cut the samsara vruksha. How do I cut this samsara vruksha? It's not easy. It's not like any other way of cutting it like any other instrument, and that is discussed in the third sloka of the 15th chapter. It says, Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nanto nachair nacha prasampratishtha. Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nanto nachair nacha sampratishtha. Asvattamenam suvirudha moolam, asvattamenam suvirudha moolam, asangasastrena drudhena chitva, asangasastrena drudhena chitva. Says this rupam asya iha tata na upalabhyate. So this, what is the nature of this samsara? It is there spreading, but it doesn't really express itself that it has some kind of something that I can see, but its attachments are, it is emotional that no one other people can see, but at the same time that affects all our transactions and muddles our judgment call, and we cannot be objective because of the attachments. And that's what the problem of Arjuna in the the starting chapter, it says how these are my teachers, my this one, and even though they are all my cousins, how can I kill them? Even though they are atatayis, I should not kill them. And that's why dharma and adharma is completely ulta sida because of the attachments, and that's what the problem is. And that's what essentially the rupam is, including all aspects of these attachments. It is that which cannot be seen, na upalabhyate. It cannot be handled, or it cannot be quantifiable, or it cannot be perceivable. But right, na antaha na cha adiri nacha adi, neither it has seemed to an end or it's a beginning. It is continuous all the time. This is a tree which is, we don't see end of the tree or beginning of the tree. It is spreading. The more you go, the more it is spreading although, and that is the kind of Ashwatha tree. So nacha na antaha na adi na Sampratishta, where it is abiding also we don't know, where it is taking form. Abidance is also its existence, its end, its a beginning, its a middle, we don't know anything about it. We cannot see where it is. If we don't know the end and the two ends, we don't know what the middle also. And we are in the fully engulfed in samsara, life after life after life, which is we don't know when we started. We are continuing, and it may go punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. This goes on. And aswathamenam, this is aswathamenam. This is enam. This tree of this samsara vruksha is suviruda moolam asangasastrenam, but it can be cut. Suvirudam, along with the roots itself, it can be cut by only, here Krishna says, asangashastrena, only by complete detachment. Because the attachment is the cause for the samsara. Only the attachment can be removed by the detachment, and that's what called sannyasa yoga. Sannyasa is detachment, yoga is attachment. By yoking your mind to something higher, you can remove the lower. That's what is the yoking to your mind to the higher reality that pervades the whole thing, to a Brahma Vasana, and you can remove the other Vasanas or the Ragadveshas. And that is being emphasized here in the third chapter in terms of the Ashwatha tree, where the emphasis is given by the asanga, means by the detachment only. Detachment with what? So here detachment is not going out somewhere else from this, and you will establish another samsara there. So therefore detachment is not leaving something, that means it has become real. Detachment is that arupam, it's not something that can be seen that I can detach. It is clear understanding that this is all mithya. Therefore says tyagena ite amrutatva manasuhu. The scripture also says by renunciation only you have to gain you reach the immortality. Immortality means changelessness. Mortal means changing. Immortality means changeless state. Changeless state is only that which is satyam, and that is which is nityam, and that is which is Brahman. That state is only is amrutam. So by tyagena this samsara vruksha can be cut. That's what Krishna says, asangashastrena, by drudha chittam. That by firm abidance in the knowledge that I am, detachment is the only way. Krishna says this tree of samsara can be cut. Otherwise, you cannot cut any other way. And in the Vivek Chudamani, it says through the knowledge only. It says knowledge and the detachment, they go together side by side as two wings of the bird. You need the two wings to fly. One is asangam, that is detachment, and another is the jnanam, viveka, nitya, anitya, vastu viveka, where discriminative intellect is required, because in spite of detachment there will be samsara, there is life goes on through the body, mind, intellect, where you will be in the transactional world. At the same time, I should have the clear understanding that this is all a part of the drama of life. This has to be understood, and we'll go into some of the Gita slokas of the second chapter, where Krishna talks about Sthita Prajna Lakshana, where he talks about also in terms of how to abide in this knowledge also, how to reach that Sthita Prajna, or from abidance in the knowledge, or Aparokshanubhuti, or that is aparoksha jnanam. This we will do in the next talk. With this we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.